doesn't matter. Which one do you prefer? Slide it. Good morning.
Good morning, everybody. Well, this is my first time doing this, so I guess I started. So,
We are waiting to see where one of our board members
yeah, that's
might
it.
be.
Just one more. So we'll give a few more minutes and then we'll
Yeah.
start. You doing, sir? Oh, how you doing? Senator. How you doing?
Okay,
Is he coming?
he is on his way and will be here shortly, so he told us to get started. So, good morning, everyone. My name is Linda Lloyd, and I'm the presiding officer assigned by the board to conduct this portion of the Category 2 license renewal hearing. Sorry, Category 1 license renewal hearing for Greenwood Gaming and Entertainment, Inc., doing business as PARX Casino. Before we begin, please turn off or to vibrate all cell phones and other electronic devices. I would like to remind everyone that this proceeding is being recorded today by a court reporter and is also being recorded on video and live streamed to our board's website at this time. I call this hearing to order. The date is Thursday, February 28, 2019. The time is 10:04 and the location is the Bensalem Township Municipal Council Chambers at 2400 Byberry Road in Bensalem, Pennsylvania. The Pennsylvania Racehorse Development and Gaming Act, as amended, requires at Section 1326 that an operator's license shall be subject to renewal by the board every 5 years. This license renewal hearing is convened by the board pursuant to the mandate found in Section 1205B of the law, which requires as part of the renewal process that a public input hearing be held in the municipality where the licensed facility is located. This public hearing was advertised on the board's website, announced at public board meetings, and advertised in local newspapers. Board members present today for the hearing at this point, to my right, is Obra Knodel, and we expect Commissioner Santoni and possibly Commissioner Mandarino at some point during the proceedings. The hearing will begin with a presentation by PARX Casino, and after the presentation, the board's enforcement counsel and the board will have an opportunity to ask PARX questions. After the PARX has concluded its presentation, our Office of Enforcement Counsel will make a presentation, and as well, the board members and PARX will have an opportunity to ask questions. After the close of the testimony and evidence from both parties, those individuals who have registered to speak at the hearing today to make public comment will be heard when their name is called, and all registered speakers will have approximately 5 minutes for their comments. So this is an official administrative hearing, so please treat this as if you were attending a court proceeding. All witnesses, if you will speak loudly and clearly into the microphones provided so that our court reporter can hear you, and when you first speak, if you could say and spell your first and last name for our court reporter. So let's begin by having all witnesses from PARX and the Office of Enforcement Counsel who will testify today. If you please stand and raise your right hand to be sworn by the court reporter.
You swear or affirm the testimony you're about to give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
So Parks, if you would like to begin.
Good morning. Good morning, Mr. Commissioner, members of the staff who are present. Thank you for being here. My name is Thomas Bonner, appearing on behalf of Greenwood Gaming and Entertainment, Inc. With us today, we have our chairman and some other senior executives, and at this point, I'll turn it over to the chairman to introduce them, and we'll begin the presentation. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Members of the Pennsylvania Gaming Control Board and senior staff, may I extend to you a very warm welcome to Bensalem in Bucks County. My name is Robert Green, Green, and I first came to Bensalem, this township, in 1989. And I came here to pursue the acquisition of what was then known as Philadelphia PARX Racetrack. After about a year of negotiation and putting together a financial package, we finally completed the purchase in 1990. So we have had a long, uninterrupted, and in our view, an extremely successful relationship with our local community, with the county, and with the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania. I have been the chairman of the company over this period of time, and our principal shareholders have all remained the same. I am mindful of the words of my grandmother, who always used to remind me that self-praise is no recommendation. But I think my tenure allows me to say with a certain degree of authority that we have the most experienced, the most creative, the most customer-conscious and hands-on senior executive team that exists in this business. Our top 6 executives have been with the firm for over 120 years. That's collectively. We have and will continue to have a steadfast commitment to this industry, to our enormous customer base, and to our thousands of local employees. That being said, I am proud and pleased to put the presentation you're about to hear in very capable hands of Mr. Tony Rickey, our Chief Executive Officer, and of course I will be here to answer any questions you may have. Thank you, and over to you, sir.
Good morning and thank you. We appreciate the opportunity to talk about this great success story that is PARX Casino. It's a rare situation when you have something that's actually not only delivered on the promises that were made back in when legislation was enacted in 2004, but exceeded those expectations. And I'm happy to walk you through where we've been, where we are today, and where we're going. So thank you very much for this opportunity. We're very proud of our position as the #1 casino in Pennsylvania. It's a position we've enjoyed since the day we've opened in December 2006. Since that time, we've invested more than $700 million into the casino and racetrack operation. With that money, we've built a beautiful destination, and it's one, when you combine that with our first-class customer service, we've created an experience for customers that not only is something that's pleasurable once, but it builds long-term customer loyalty, and that's proven out in our results. We've developed the best team in the business, and that's really a testament to the man to my left, Mr. Green, who brought a nucleus over from the UK back in 1990. We've built on that nucleus, and we're very, very proud to say we do have the best team in the business. And this team takes this beautiful property and creates an exciting atmosphere for our guests on a daily basis, 24/7, which is not easy to do. I think before I continue, I forgot to spell my name. It's in the book. We're very proud, in addition to these records of economic success, our record of commitment to diversity, community outreach, social responsibility, and this wonderful community has shared in the benefits of our operation. We prioritize local residents for hiring and vendor selection so we can ensure that both PARX and the community grow together. We maintain a strong working relationship with our community to ensure there are no adverse impacts from our presence, particularly with traffic and crime. And we have a strong commitment to responsible gaming, and this is evidenced by our outstanding record in these particular areas. To just give you a quick history of how we commenced casino operations, we opened in December 2006 in what was our racetrack grandstand, something we were able to do in a 5-month period of time. We located initially about 2,000 slot machines. Ultimately, when we moved over to the permanent casino, it was around 2,900. And we operated on the 1st and 3rd floors. And our amenities at that point in time included a buffet, a steakhouse restaurant, grab-and-go casual dining outlet, and a video poker bar. We also incorporated live and simulcast horse racing on both the 1st and 3rd floors. We then, in December 2009, moved into our beautiful new casino, the permanent facility, and we created Pennsylvania's premier gaming facility in every respect. We opened with 125,000 square foot gaming floor, initially with 3,287 slot machines. We added 57 table games in the summer of 2010 after the passage of the legislation to authorize that. And at the time, the amenities included the 360 bar, which was an entertainment venue which included live bands, Jack's Bar, which is our center bar and included video poker, our steakhouse named the PARX Grill, and Chickies and Pete's Sports Bar, which is the #1 sports bar in North America according to ESPN, along with a food court with multiple dining options. Since our renewal hearing in 2014, we have expended an additional $146 million in the casino, which has continued to drive our growth. The single biggest element of that is our new 1,500-seat multi-purpose room named the Excite Center. We spent about $40 million to get that open. It is a beautiful, from a sound quality standpoint, an audience member standpoint, rivals any theater in this area, including the Kimmel Center. Last year was our first year of opening and operating that, and it's delivered everything we had hoped. And I think the highlight of last year was a private performance by Sir Elton John in October for 1,200 of our best customers. And it's really given us some tremendous momentum going forward. In addition to that, we've continued to replenish our slot floor and grow it. We've spent $27 million on new slot machines. We expanded our gaming floor to add restrooms, a gift shop, and a lounge for $23 million. In conjunction with the addition of the Excite Center, we added 3 new food and beverage outlets, our Italian offering, Oliveto, the Liberty Bell Gastropub, and most recently, last month, the Beer Garden at a cost of $16 million. We have a new 48-table poker room that opened last year. Previously, our poker operations were conducted in the racetrack grandstand. We've upgraded our surveillance system at a cost of $4 million, totally renovated the casino carpet at just under $3 million. There's mechanical and electrical upgrades of $2 million, and we reconstructed the entrances to the casino off of Mechanicsville Road and Byberry Road to allow easier access and egress to the property. So our casino floor now consists of 174,864 square feet. It includes 3,202 slot machines, 140 table games, 10 hybrid table games with 48 electronic wagering terminals. We also have 40 poker tables, and with the recent addition of sports wagering, 29 self-service sports wagering kiosks. These additional entertainment and dining options for our guests have led to more visits to our casino property. We're pleased to report last year, which was really the first year for the Excite Center and the new food and beverage outlets, our revenue grew approximately 7%, which is significantly above the rest of the state. And this obviously leads to more revenue for the Commonwealth, so it's good for all. Thought it would be helpful to give you some perspective since we're not on the property. I'll quickly just walk you through some pictures. This is our Excite Center. This is a perspective facing the stage. The next shot is from the performer's perspective facing the audience. And as you can see, it's a beautiful room. Our approach, as for anyone who's visited the property, and you can tell from these pictures, is to do it right the first time. Build something beautiful, keep it well maintained, and give great service, and that formula serves us very well. Here is the X Lounge. We opened that 2 years ago. This is another beautiful outlet. Food and beverage, there is some poker in the poker inserts in the bar tops, predominantly used as a pre- and post-event space for the Excite Center. Here's our new Liberty Bell Gastropub. As you can see, it's a beautiful room. We have reclaimed wood at the top, plenty of high-def TVs, and the food is tremendous. This is a perspective of the same outlet inside, deeper inside the area, and we have a rotisserie chicken and wine bar area too. And you can see everything is first-class quality. This is our Italian offering, Oliveto. Again, it's a beautiful room, elegant but casual. You can get a pizza or great Italian food, whichever you prefer. This is the entrance area now. This is from the customer's perspective facing the entrance. Here is our beer garden. We just opened this last month, and as you can see, it's a beautiful outlet. It works very well now with the introduction of sports betting to the property. We have a 16-foot by 9-foot screen there that you can see where the beer garden sign exists there. And one nice thing about this is both the roof and the side windows are all retractable. It can be fully open air. Hopefully the weather will break soon and we'll be able to pop that open. And here's a perspective from the entrance of the beer garden. Last but not least, we have our poker room, which we opened last year. And as you can see, it's beautiful, as is everything else on our property. So not only has this been good for the community, but there have been substantial benefits to the Commonwealth. As the highest revenue generator in the state, Since we've opened in 2006, we've paid $2.6 billion of taxes to the Commonwealth. That comprised of $2.4 billion of slot taxes, $187 million of taxes from table games, and just under $1 million from the recent introduction of sports betting in January 2019. We've also honored our commitment to racing. This is now this team's 30th year as the owner and operator of PARX Racing. And since 1990, the PARX team has worked together with our horsemen to establish one of the premier thoroughbred racing operations in this country. Since we opened the permanent casino in 2009, we've expended $43 million in investments and repairs to the backstretch. We built 29 new barns, renovated 4 and refurbished 12 dormitories. We've built a manure storage facility to promote best management practices and environmental compliance. We've implemented an industry-leading access control system for the restricted racing areas that maximizes the safety and security of the personnel who work there and the horses who are housed there. And we've made various improvements and repairs to the backstretch, including inside rider protection rail on the racing oval. We repaved the entire backstretch. We've repaired roofs and site drainage and installed eco-friendly rubber pavers in the paddock, walking ring, and the winner's circle. In addition, our paid purses in 2018 totaled $48.5 million. This translates into a daily average of $309,000 per day. And we've elevated the annual PA Derby to a Grade 1 stakes race. And when combined with the Grade 1 Cotillion Stakes race, which we run on the same day in September, each with a $1 million purse, we attract the best thoroughbreds in the world. In addition, we make an annual donation of $50,000 to Turning for Home for the humane care of retired thoroughbred racehorses. We've contributed $550,000 to this to date. So we've had a very successful run since 2006, but I'm happy to say that our future remains bright. We have many new opportunities on the horizon that we're ready to take advantage of. We've taken a leading position in sports wagering, with operations now underway here at PARX Casino and the South Philadelphia Turf Club. Our temporary sports book, we opened in the 360 bar. We closed that down to get open quickly, and we did that in early January. We opened at the South Philadelphia Turf Club in the 3rd week of January. And we are now commencing construction of a permanent 10,000 square foot sports book, which will be adjacent to the gastropub and the beer garden area. And we expect that to be open late summer of 2019, ideally before the football season. And with your approval, we're scheduled to open the Valley Forge Turf Club for sports wagering in March of 2019. In addition, we intend to bring our first-class casino market, our experience to a new market in 2020. We've identified Shippensburg Township in Cumberland County as the site of our Category 4 casino. We will have approximately 500 slot machines, 40 electronic table games, and we will be bringing Chickies and Pete's Sports Bar to that property. We also intend to include a race and sports book for parimutuel and sports wagering. In addition, internet gaming is now under development, and with the gaming board, working together with the gaming board, we expect to be ready for operations sometime in the 2nd quarter, obviously subject to PGCB approval, but that'll include full-fledged casino gaming and sports betting. So that concludes my portion of the presentation. I'd now like to turn the presentation over to the man who is largely responsible for our outstanding reputation in this area. He's been with us since the day we've opened, our Director of Diversity and Community Development, Mr. Ron Davis.
Thank you, Tony, and thank you, Bob, for your leadership. And I sit here as probably the luckiest man in the world, because I have had the opportunity to help a lot of people, to build a lot of alliances, and to share the success of PARX with the community. There are a lot of people behind me in this room who I really value as the bedrock of what we do. We started out, and my responsibility is to manage the diversity and inclusion plan, which is submitted every year to the gaming board. And we started out with outreach and other things that we thought were going to be valuable. But it's the people behind the scenes, the teams that are respected. And I will spell my name. Ron, R-O-N, D-A-V-I-S. Thank you. So it's the teams that we built within the community and in our structure. The teams that are excited about working together with people, whether it be the fire alarms that we give to the local Ben Salem group, or whether it be an earthquake in Haiti or a hurricane in Puerto Rico, we give. And you'll see that outstanding record of achievement there. But beyond that, we share our success and we look for diversity champions. And again, there are champions in this room. I'd like to also recognize Brian Wilson, who's helping us today with this presentation, and Michelle Salduti, who helps me with the diversity outreach as part of that strategy. We are thankful for the opportunities that the community has given us, and we do our outreach through a thing called servant leadership. We started with servant leadership, and that servant leadership is a perspective that we carry forward, making sure that that principle is shared with the community that we want to serve. And about teams, I had the fortune of playing on some bad NFL teams in my past. So I know what a good team looks like. This is a great team. So we carried that message forward of building teams, of doing what we thought was the right thing for the community. And from day one, we were effective, I think, with it. The relationships that we built and all the things that we've done. As you can see from the presentation, as I go to it, we have 2,199 employees in gaming operation. As of December 2018, 402 employees in the racing operation. 2,217 employees, 82% of those are Pennsylvania residents. 42% of our employees are representatives from various historically underrepresented groups. 41% of employees are women. Workforce highlights the creation of 287 full-time permanent executive, managerial, and professional positions. 74% of all advancement opportunities are filled internally. We've developed new casino professions, including finance, info, technology, and you can see all the others that are in that paragraph that have come to the fore. I was there when we opened the casino, and I remember 2008 when we were filling jobs that had left the community and from America. We had a bad challenge at that time. These jobs were important and are important as we go forward. 83% of our executive and managerial workforce resides in Pennsylvania. Now I'll go through some of the highlights of employment. We want to note that under diversity in employment, minority employment, historically underrepresented groups are 42% of the total employee workforce, compared with the census that is 10% locally. That's outstanding. And so we're overrepresented in some ways. Female, 41% of our total employee workforce. Outstanding achievements. One of the things that, and I want to recognize Moselle Daniels, I don't know if she's here or not, but we work hand in hand. I've had 52 meetings with Moselle Daniels over those years, quarterly meetings. And one of the things that we came up with was the importance of LBE, local business. Prior to that, there was only one or two quadrants that were effective, but didn't really relate to the economic engine that a casino could be. We started tracking LBE, and we found a fascinating thing, how valuable it was. Going back to the slide, 27% of our total expenditures in the initial PARX casino construction were allocated to MBE WBEs. Local business enterprise state expenditures for 2006 to 2018 were $810 million out of $1.7 billion. That's 48%. Total of MBE WBE expenditures were $60.5 million for a period of 2009 to 2018. With others and with our help and our staff and the work that they do, we've done 30 how to do business with PARX meetings with MBE, WBE, and LBE suppliers, vendors, and that were conducted during the 2006-2018 period. That's very significant because that's a measure of outreach that's, I think, unparalleled. Over 1,100 outreach meetings with MBE, WBE, LBE individual suppliers. We maintain active membership with the Eastern Minority Supplier Development Council of PA, Delaware, and New Jersey. We maintain active membership with the Women's Business Enterprise Council. In fact, I'm on their board as we move forward. We're active in many, member in various local business development groups. Hispanic Chamber of Commerce of Greater Philadelphia, Bensalem Business Directory, African American Chamber of Commerce, Asian American Chamber of Commerce, Greater Philadelphia Chamber of Commerce, Bensalem Business Association, Lower Bucks, Upper Bucks, and Central Bucks Chambers of Commerce, and Visit Bucks, which is important for tourism in Bucks County. From 2014 through 2018, we have contributed more than $2 million through Pennsylvania Educational Improvement Tax, and that's EITC and Opportunity Scholarship Tax, OSTC programs. In addition, we have made contributions of $460,000 to benefit 10 different grade schools, high schools, and educational organizations in the area. The outstanding record of achievement comes through partnerships also, and through outreach that is significant. Since 2006, PARX has awarded over $100,000 to 150 college-bound students. Those students are in Bucks County Technical High School, Bensalem High School, Conwell, Egan, and Archbishop Wood Catholic High Schools, and our children who are PARX casino employees are in that category. We meet regularly, and some of our great representatives are behind me, and they will, I'm sure, come forward at the appropriate time. But we meet regularly with them to ensure that the advisory committee is informed about current operations and future plans. This is one of the areas that I love that we've created a niche for. Service on boards of directors. One of the things that we found is that if we have a person within our staff who's a member of the board of directors, we start to know how the community and what the community needs may be and how they operate. Therefore, we can contribute manpower. One of the things that we do well, whether it's habitat or outreach to seniors. We just had, under the leadership of Michelle, the great seniors holiday outreach. But we're also members of the Citizens Crime Commission on that board of directors, United Way Bucks County, Lower Bucks Chamber of Commerce, Live and Grin, YMCA of Bucks County, Habitat for Humanity, of course. And another key that's maybe a little different is the partnerships that we've got. Our attitude is an insatiable look for partnerships that work, not only for PARX, but for the community. The partnerships with Live and Grin, we realize there are people who need help, who have addiction. So we have a partnership with them. We have a partnership with the Community College of Philadelphia, where we basically work with 4 affinity groups, young men of color. We sponsor programs there. We sponsor women's leadership. We sponsor LGBTQ. And we sponsor veterans. We do the same thing with Bucks County Community College. We found that a great niche as we move forward to create the Community College Student Empowerment Program. We work with representatives under the problem gambling highlights, work with representatives of the Council of Compulsive Gambling of Pennsylvania to establish comprehensive compulsive and problem gambling training. We've incorporated compulsive gambling training into new employee orientation to ensure that all team members are trained and aware. Yearly, we give $25,000 to the Council on Compulsive Gambling, a total of $300,000 since we've opened. annual sponsorship of the Council for Compulsive and Problem Gambling in Eastern Pennsylvania. Living and Gambling Addiction Program that we partner with gets $75,000 over the 3-year period. And this is one of the highlights that is staggering because we can compare our great operation with the industry in Pennsylvania. We are certainly notable. Since 2006, we have made donations and established sponsorships totaling $95 million to over 800 organizations. We've made donations to international, national, local groups that support many varied causes. And you can see the list of those causes there. I'll pick out just a few. Building a Better Bensalem, UNCF, Habitat, American Red Cross, Council for Compulsive Gambling, Special Olympics, Bensalem Summer Concert Series, Bucks County Health Improvement, Liberté Halfway House, Latino Leadership Alliance, Historic Philadelphia, scholarship awards to the area students, as we said, fallen fire fighters. One of the outstanding things that we do, and it's led by our great team members, is to do veterans outreach also. We have a thing called a Tour of Honor, and if you ever come in April or September to PARX, you will see us leading with the Tour of Honor group, a group of 400 veterans to Washington, bringing them back to cheering crowds of 2,000 people, saluting their service. And then we feed them and they have a great time, but we appreciate their service, and we do that every year. For all this, we do get recognized. We are recognized by the U.S. Department of State for Diversity and Inclusion, the top 100 businesses in the U.S. The Women's Business Enterprise Center Award for excellence. We've got the Bucks County NAACP Award for community service. And by the way, we are corporate members of the NAACP and have been for 6 years. The Tourism Impact Award from Visit Bucks. Bensalem Jewish Outreach Center, Community Service. Philadelphia Chapter and NAACP Corporate Citizens Award. The American Red Cross Chairman's Award, which is certainly one of the reasons I'm humbled that I've been elected to the board of the American Red Cross National for the diversity program. Community College of Philadelphia Community Leadership Award. The UNCF Corporate Leaders Award. United Way Service Award, and Central Bucks Chamber of Commerce Award. All these awards, but our real award is to see people employed, Pennsylvanians see them feed their families, and see people who need help get that help. And I'll turn it back over to Tony to give a summary.
Thank you, Ron. It's truly gratifying to listen to Ron recite all the initiatives that we've undertaken during his tenure here. And I just want to point out, this doesn't just happen. It's intentional, and it's a tireless effort for Ron and Michelle Salduti. We're so proud of the work that they do, and they recruit many of our outstanding team members to assist them in these endeavors. But I think it's something that I just want to point out to you. It's part of our culture that we believe that it's important that the community share in the benefits of our facility. It actually, we believe it helps us. It's to our mutual benefit that to the extent we have a beautiful, thriving community, it makes it easier to attract customers to our casino, as opposed to the alternative where you're trying to attract people into an area that may not be so desirable. So it's intelligent business, but it's also very gratifying. I'd just like to close out that we have delivered on our promises and just talk about all the things we've done since we've opened in 2006. We've honored our commitment to create jobs. As Ron said, we have over 2,500 jobs here at PARX. We generated new business for local suppliers and vendors. He spoke to those results there. We recaptured the dollars that were leaving the state and going to Atlantic City. Clearly served as a catalyst for future capital investment in the state. As I said earlier, $2.6 billion of tax benefits to the state. That's just in gaming taxes alone. The substantial physical improvement to the track amenities in the backside. diversity and inclusion that Ron's described, and our involvement with the community organizations, all these charitable donations he speaks to. Yes, we hired locally and utilized local vendors. We partnered with educational institutions, and we honored our commitment to participate in the efforts to grow this area. We have open communications on a regular basis with the local municipality, the businesses, and the residents. We have a gaming advisory board that we meet with regularly. And as Ron identified, we have a commitment to compulsive gambling training and constant effort on that area. So it's something that we promised we do. We delivered on that promise. We take our word and our reputation very seriously, and we're committed to continuing to honor that. That concludes my portion of the presentation and our presentation. I'm available for questions if you have any. Thank you.
I will turn it over to our Office of Enforcement Counsel. Do you have any questions for?
Yes, I do,
PARX?
Director. James Armstrong, Senior Enforcement Counsel for the Office of Enforcement Counsel. It's ARMSTRONG. Mr. Ricky, I think my first question would be to you on the slide industry leader. In the
We didn't page number these, did we?
I know, I have to go to that.
What's the topic?
Industry leader slide, it's in the beginning, towards the beginning.
There's two slides there, right? Yeah. First or
Yeah,
second?
the first one, I'm sorry.
First one?
Well, actually, we could get the first one under key highlights. I had one quick question for that. But I believe you answered it. It states there that you spent $700 million on the casino, but that was the whole entire property.
Since 2006, correct.
Yes.
That's right. Cumulative.
So under industry leader, the bar, the 360 bar, you now have the temporary sports book in that?
Correct.
Okay, now when you put the temporary sports book in it, did that actually take up an entertainment venue that was in that bar?
It did, it did. We had to discontinue we had live bands in there on Friday and Saturday night and a DJ. We had to discontinue that activity for the time being.
Okay.
The plan is when we open the permanent sports book late summer, that we'll return 360 bar to its original purpose.
So the entertainment
Correct.
venue will return?
Correct.
Okay, thank you. Now, on that second page of industry leader.
I like it when you say industry leader.
Okay. One of the expenditures was surveillance system enhancements.
Yes.
Could you elaborate on that? What exactly was that, and how did?
Yeah, I mean, with the improvements in technology, the quality of the cameras from the time we opened in 2006 has grown dramatically, and particularly with the addition of table games, it was crucial that we have better coverage on the casino floor and better visibility, not only having more coverage, but better coverage to be able to see everything on the casino floor. So we felt it was important to invest that $4 million to improve our coverage capabilities.
Was there some overlap of that with the security department as well? Did they get enhanced technology for checking IDs and
They
things of that
did.
nature?
They did. Yes, we did. We invested in the state-of-the-art ID scanners to assist in ensuring that under 21s don't enter the property.
Thank you. Now we can turn to, or if you have to turn to, I'll just ask the question, commitment to racing. Can you further describe where you state industry-leading access control system?
In the past, pretty much anyone could access the backstretch. You had a gate there. We did have a guard, but it was honestly relatively loose. If you knew somebody, they could bring you in. And what we've done is we've implemented a security control procedure where you have to be pre-authorized to enter the backstretch, so you don't have anybody wandering in back there who may want to do some harm to someone or to a horse.
Thank you. last two questions will be for you, Mr. Davis. And it was that slide workforce summary.
Yes.
Now, it says that you employ 42% of historically underrepresented groups. Can you elaborate on that? And did that figure there include women that are employed by
Yes.
PARX?
Yes.
So is there a difference there in how many actually or minorities versus how many women are actually employed? Or
But
is it?
with the title underrepresented groups, that includes that information. I can give you from our report the people of color, the other underrepresented groups in that category. So
I'm just trying to clarify this, that 41% of the PARX employees are female, and
Right.
42% are minority. Now, is that?
no, that's right. That does not include women in that group.
Okay, would some of the minority be women?
Yeah, it wouldn't necessarily be double counting, but it would be women also.
Okay.
Yeah.
And my final question to you, Mr. Davis, the slide for diversity in construction,
Yes.
that second statement, local business enterprise / state expenditures for 2006 through 18 were 810 million out of
Yes.
1.7 billion. Does that mean that the remainder of that, it was 48% spent in state, but that 52% was spent out of state?
Well, local business is defined as the contiguous counties around the host community. So in-state, yes. So
48%.
48% was spent in those areas.
Okay, but does then that mean the inference being that 52% was spent out of state? Or, yeah, with construction.
Not out of state.
Not out of state,
No.
not in contiguous communities, but could still be in state.
Ah,
The
okay.
dominant
Yeah.
spending was in state.
State.
Okay, thank you. I have no further questions.
Okay, I will turn to board members. Start on the end with Mr. Santoni.
Okay. Gentlemen, thank you for your presentation. As you know, Commissioner Knodel and I had the opportunity to visit your facility a few weeks ago, maybe a month ago now, and very impressed, especially with the Excite Center. I thought that was really cool, and we had an opportunity to hear some things there that I enjoyed. Anyway, just a couple very quick questions. The issue of iGaming, I know that the recent DOJ ruling has affected the Wire Act. And I was just wondering if that has changed anything with how you're going to go about dealing with the area of internet gaming.
No, I don't think it necessarily affects what we intend to do, other than ensure that all of our activity occurs within Pennsylvania. We were contemplating possibly putting servers in New Jersey, which was what was a lot of the people who were in New Jersey and Pennsylvania were contemplating doing. That's not an option now, but we hadn't located our servers anywhere anyway, so it was just simply a matter of ensuring that they're located within Pennsylvania. The big question in this area is going to be with respect to payment processing, how the bank's going to handle this. And I'm just not sure yet, but we don't see any reason why we can't proceed, particularly with sports betting, because it's all going to be conducted within our four walls. And at minimum, people will be able to deposit cash into their account if they visit the properties. So we'll be able to get it going. It wouldn't be as strong an offering if we can't do the credit card processing, which is really, we know it from the horse racing side, where we've operated internet wagering since the 90s on the horse racing side, and credit card deposits are about 2/3 of the methodology for depositing into an account. So it's certainly the preferred method. But we could still get started. I think it's going to adversely impact the business if we can't get credit cards, though.
And on the employment side, you have about 2,600 employees. Are those union jobs? Any of those union?
On the racing side, about 90% are union.
Okay.
On the casino side, there are a smaller percentage. The building trades, yes. Frankly, we had a couple of our departments that were unionized, and they decertified. So, I mean, there really hasn't been any initiatives for unionization on that side. We have great relationships with all the unions in this area. We deal with everyone.
Just a couple quick questions, just for my, I'm not really too knowledgeable about the horse racing area, but a Grade 1 race is obviously that's the top race. Is that breeding, or how do you determine how a race becomes?
There's actually a committee
Okay.
in the horse racing community that makes these decisions as to who's a Grade 1, Grade 2, Grade 3 race, and it's important if you're an owner of a horse and a breeder to know that the horse that you're breeding had this lineage, so that it's something that is important, that if a horse wins a Grade 1 race, forgetting the purse for a minute, it has some future benefits in terms of breeding. So it's a status thing within the industry, and we worked a long time to achieve that Grade 1 status, and it's very, very important.
You forgot to mention the Liberty Bell replica that you have in the...
Yes, yes, I didn't put that in.
You gotta put
That's right, and the horse head. We'll have to update it for the next one.
And my last question is to Mr. Davis. It's not gaming related, but you said you played in the NFL. I'm just wondering who you played for.
Yeah, I was drafted by the 49ers.
Okay.
Played with the 49ers a year on and off. Was cut, brought back, and then traded to the St. Louis Cardinals. And you know what? There's no team in St. Louis anymore.
All right.
So it's called NFL, not for long. Yeah, and I played with them for 3 years, had 2 knees banged up, trying to drag down a quarterback or 2, and then ended up in Atlanta as a Falcon.
Thank
So,
you.
yeah.
Thank you. Thank you.
I have a quick question, really, about sports wagering. Since that has started, have you seen a different age group starting to come to your casinos?
Yeah, it
because of that?
skews a little younger, it does, and people who hadn't come to the casino previously, so we're very pleased about that. That it's attracting a different audience. That's why we want to proceed with the construction of the new permanent sports book to create some attraction, that's particularly when football season kicks in, to draw someone either out of their living room, instead of looking at their big flat screen at home or going to their local sports bar. They have this best sports bar and sports book in the country, because it'll be the latest technology, et cetera. Something for us to market to continue to drive people who right now don't play slots. That sports bettor isn't a slot customer predominantly. Could be a table games or poker player though. So we've been very pleased with that. In fact, at the Turf Club at South Philadelphia, since we've introduced it, it's actually, we weren't sure how it would play out, but it's benefited our horse racing business too. There's been a knock-on effect for that. So far so good. We're very pleased with it, and we hope to have the same result in Valley Forge.
A question about the future. As me being the youngest board member, what is your, as a casino, as the online starts to come on and the mobile phones and everything, what is your fear of the bricks and mortar casinos? What do you feel like that next 10, 20, I mean?
It's a legitimate concern in that right now it's a bit of an impulse to come to the casino, but you have to make a decision to get in your car, spend an hour and whatever travel time it is to get here, whereas you could instantaneously begin to gamble. It's not something that Bob Green and I were advocating for, because it's a bit of, you're combining what is potentially addictive behavior with another addictive behavior on a cell phone. But that's the law now, and it's our industry, and we have to compete as well as we can, just like we do in the real world. We are concerned, we're on record as saying that prior to the implementation of the legislation, that if you see what happens in the retail world, I just read today, JCPenney's is now closing stores too. Brick and mortar retail is going down. And, you know, I think it is a challenge for us. So what we're going to try to do is combine it and coordinate it with our brick and mortar offering so that our online customer can feel like they're connected to the brick and mortar property and have promotions and things like that where you can come in based on your play online to come into the property. We're going to have to do that. One of the concerns, though, is that you have other operators coming in to the state in the way this process is conducted that may not have brick and mortar investment. And all they've got is a server, and they could spend a lot of money in marketing, maybe not be so intelligent in what they give a customer to attract them because there's a very low cost of entry for them, and they'll take a shot. And it could destabilize the situation. Up to now, before the implementation of online gaming, the construct of the legislation was brilliant in that you have locations, it's a logical location for each casino. It's where the people are. The casinos right now have 2/3 of the state's population within 25 miles of them. Once these Category 5, Category 4s are rolled out, you're going to be up close to 90% of the state or already be within 25 miles of a physical property. So that we very intelligently laid out how the industry would operate. And this has the potential to destabilize that. So it's a valid concern. It's something we're going to have to operate in, and we want to be number one in the online world too. But we know when you look at retail, it gives you a real concern that it could be a problem for brick and mortar, which is where the jobs are, where the capital investment is. It's not in online. So I am a bit concerned about the long-term prospects, but we'll do our best because we have this investment in brick and mortar to continue to see it thrive.
I appreciate it. And just one more question. How many jobs you think will be coming on for the sports betting?
A couple hundred.
A couple hundred?
Yeah. Yeah.
Great. Thank you.
Good morning. Let me pick up where Commissioner Kernodle left off for a minute. Online gaming in all jurisdictions, who has the longest track record? Is it Nevada or?
Yes, yes.
Which is how long?
I'm not sure. I think it's been a long, long time.
Okay, so.
They've always had sports betting, and I think whenever.
Right. I mean, they
years.
are definitely different than we are in terms of they're a destination versus a convenience. But is there any industry benchmarks in terms of what online did to the bricks and mortars in other jurisdictions when it came on, and was it temporary or permanent? I absolutely hear the discussion about long-term and retail, but I'm just interested if we have any crystal ball direction.
So early in the game, no. In fact, there isn't really that much online gaming in Nevada. It's not that big. So New Jersey is really the new, and it's relatively new. I think it was 2012 when it commenced. And that's a lot different than Pennsylvania in that when I spoke to 68% of the residents of Pennsylvania are within 25 miles of a casino. It's totally opposite in New Jersey, where 95% of the residents are more than 25 miles away. So it really lends itself more to online gaming than our state does. So I think, it's hard to, I know people will say, look, it didn't hurt New Jersey, but of course not. Nobody lives around Atlantic City, and it wouldn't. So we're much more susceptible to some pain here. Nobody knows. There's no history on this.
My second line of questioning, and I also recently had an opportunity to visit your land-based casino here, but with regard to sports betting and the turf clubs, which you now can offer the sports betting there by way of your license that we're talking about today, what do you see, assuming sports betting is as successful as we're all hoping that it will be. What do you see in terms of mid to long range plans for both the South Village facility and the one that you haven't even quite gotten up and running in terms of Valley Forge? If you can share any thoughts there.
For those two properties? Well, you know, interestingly, they already were sports books, if you think about it. I mean, they had, the sport they offered was horse racing. So it was not a difficult process. It was really more money spent on some physical plant upgrades and just putting them in a position to be overseen as a casino as opposed to a racetrack, more surveillance upgrades, things like that, security and surveillance. But there really isn't much to do. They're great properties, and what we've done now will satisfy the demand for sure. We have 25,000 square feet of space at Valley Forge, which is more than enough. 30,000 square feet at South Philadelphia. So we'll continue to invest in the properties we do. We want to do everything first class. That's, you know, part of our branding. But I think the properties as they exist, interestingly, they were ready to go as sports books. It was actually easier there than it was at the casino.
Well, and the reason I ask the question is what I'm seeing the land-based casinos, including yourselves, do with their plans for permanent spaces for their sports book is they're thinking of them as not just convenient places to place your bet, but in and of themselves some sort of entertainment venue, whether it is a sports bar, the capacity to have big game, night, day events, et cetera.
Which we will do.
Oh, okay, so that
So
is
we
part
have
of what you
25,000,
have.
30,000 square feet. We have a bar, a restaurant. We have all those already in place as part of the Turf Club. The real question there is, again, going to be what happens when this goes online and mobile? Will that then cause people to stop going to the property because it's just so easy? You know, if you look at New Jersey, 80% of the sports betting is done via mobile or more online anyway. That's really the question. Right now, we don't have that ability, so everything is done on property. We'll see. We'll see. But whatever we do, it's going to be as good as we can possibly do it to give that customer the best experience. And that's why we think it's intelligent to invest in this permanent sports book to really create something special at the casino.
Thank you.
Any follow-up from Enforcement Council?
No, I have no further questions.
Okay. Would you like to move your PowerPoint into the record?
Yes, please, Ms. Lund, we'd like to move
Okay.
that into
Okay. Okay, and before we turn to the Office of Enforcement Council, if I could have a quick sidebar with Mr. Bonner and/or Mr. Ricci.
Both of us or just you, Tom? Yeah. Well done.
Okay, we will now turn to our Office of Enforcement Counsel and their presentation for today.
Thank you, Director Lloyd. Commissioners, the Office of Enforcement Counsel and PARX Casino have entered into the following stipulations concerning PARX Casino's application for renewal of its license, which have been provided to you as Exhibits 1 through 9. The first one, the Pennsylvania State Police have provided the Office of Enforcement Counsel with the Uniform Crime Reporting System reports for the period of January 1st, 2014 through December 31st, 2018, addressing incidents at PARX Casino since its Category 1 slot machine license was last renewed. The Uniform Crime Reporting System reports are Exhibit 1. On January 9th, 2019, the State Horse Racing Commission issued a letter to the Office of Enforcement Counsel stating that PARX Racing Association's thoroughbred racing license is in good standing and no regulatory violations have occurred. The State Horse Racing Commission letter is Exhibit 2. On January 11th, 2019, the Bureau of Liquor Control Enforcement issued a letter to the Office of Enforcement Counsel stating that there had been one citation and an adjudication against PARX Casino since its Category 1 slot machine license was last renewed. The Bureau of Liquor Control Enforcement's letter is Exhibit 3. On January 10th, 2019, the Board's Office of Compulsive and Problem Gambling issued a memorandum to the Office of Enforcement Counsel attesting that PARX Casino is in compliance with its compulsive and problem gambling plan, and it is meeting the requirements under the Gaming Act and the Board's regulations as they pertain to its plan. This memorandum is Exhibit 4. On January 10th, 2019, the Pennsylvania Department of Revenue Bureau of Compliance issued a letter to the Office of Enforcement Counsel stating that the tax accounts of Greenwood Gaming Entertainment, Inc. and Greenwood Racing, Inc. are in good standing with the Pennsylvania Department of Revenue. The Pennsylvania Department of Revenue Bureau of Compliance letter is Exhibit 5. The Office of Enforcement Counsel and PARX Casino have entered into 15 board-approved consent agreements since the time of PARX Casino's last renewal. Copies of the board-approved consent agreements are included in the Office of Enforcement Counsel's evidence as Exhibit 6. The Office of Enforcement Counsel conducted 7 compliance conferences at PARX Casino's facility since the time of PARX Casino's last renewal. The compliance conference memorandums are Exhibit 7. The Office of Enforcement Counsel would ask that Exhibit 7 be kept confidential. The Office of Enforcement Counsel has issued PARX Casino 30 warning letters since the time of its last renewal. The PARX Casino has appropriately responded to each of these warning letters issued by the Office of Enforcement Counsel. Copies of the warning letters and PARX Casino's responses are Exhibit 8. And the Office of Enforcement Counsel would ask that Exhibit 8 be kept confidential. Finally, Exhibit 9 is the stipulations agreement executed by the parties on February 13th, 2019. Director, the Office of Enforcement Counsel requests that Exhibits 1 through 9 be admitted into the record with the additional request that Exhibits 7 and 8 be kept confidential.
Okay, do you have any witnesses?
Yes, we did. With your permission, I'd like to
today?
call my first witness. It would be Randy Levin.
Morning, everyone.
Mr. Levin, can you state your name and title for the record?
Yes, my name is Randy Levan, L-E-V-A-N. I'm a corporal with the Pennsylvania State Police
And how long have you been employed by the Pennsylvania State Police?
for 15 years.
And what is your current assignment?
I'm currently assigned at PARX Casino. I am an enforcement office supervisor.
And you briefly describe your current duties.
I oversee 4 troopers at PARX Casino in day-to-day activities. Additionally, there's another corporal there that oversees an additional 4 troopers. Myself and the other corporal both report to the office commander, who is Sergeant James McFadden.
Can you briefly describe the role of the Pennsylvania State Police at PARX Casino?
Yes, the Pennsylvania State Police provides police services to the PARX Casino. Our primary jurisdiction is the gaming floor and gaming-related areas from within the casino.
What law enforcement agency has primary police jurisdiction over PARX Casino and its parking lot?
It is the Bensalem Township Police Department.
And can you briefly describe the working relationship between the Pennsylvania State Police personnel, have with the Bensalem Police assigned to cover Parks Casino?
We have a very good professional working relationship with the Bensalem Township Police Department.
And can you briefly describe the working relationship Pennsylvania State Police personnel have with Parks Casino personnel, particularly its security and surveillance personnel?
Again, we also have a very good professional working relationship with all of the staff members at PARX Casino, including security and surveillance.
Thank you. And can you briefly describe the working relationship Pennsylvania State Police personnel have with personnel from the board's Bureau of Casino Compliance that are assigned to Parks Casino?
We have a very good professional working relationship with the board's Bureau of Casino Compliance personnel as well.
Now, are you familiar with the Uniform Crime Reporting System?
Yes, I am.
Can you briefly describe what it is?
It is official data collected on crime within the United States.
Which agency compiles the information contained in the Uniform Crime Reporting System?
Each Pennsylvania State Police office and/or station compiles and enters UCR information. The FBI administers a UCR program nationwide.
Is it in electronic format?
Yes, it is.
Is the Uniform Crime Reporting System available to the public on Pennsylvania State Police's website?
Yes, it is. It's via the website www.paucrs.pa.gov.
And how frequently is this information updated?
This information is updated monthly. Data must be entered by the 10th of every month for the preceding month.
Is the information contained in the database subject to edit?
Yes, it is.
Under what circumstances?
A UCR system user can edit arrests, clearances, number of victims, number of accused, demographics for victims, and demographics for accused.
What information is contained in the Uniform Crime Reporting System?
Reported offenses, actual offenses, arrests, property damage, documentation of theft amounts, age and demographics of victims and offenders, both adult and juvenile.
Can the number of offenses reported be reduced if the case is later determined to be unfounded?
No.
And the binder that you've been provided with, there are 9 documents. Which of the Office of Enforcement Counsel has offered into evidence in this matter? Can you identify for the record Exhibit 1?
Yes, it is the year-to-date UCR reports for PARX Casino for the years 2014 through 2018.
Are criminal offenses that occurred at Parks Casino listed in the Uniform Crime Reporting System?
Yes, they are.
And how are the offenses that occurred at a licensed Pennsylvania casino entered into the Uniform Crime Reporting System?
The UCR officer for the Bureau of Gaming Enforcement at PARX Casino is Corporal Richard Levan. He tracks the pertinent UCR data as incident reports are reviewed and approved. At the end of every month, Corporal Richard Levan enters his UCR spreadsheet information into the UCR database.
And does the Uniform Crime Reporting System list the number of actual offenses that are prosecuted?
Yes, it does count all arrests.
What is the most common criminal offense at Parks based on the report?
The most common criminal offense is forgery and counterfeiting.
Can you give an example of one of these offenses?
Yes, an example would be when the Pennsylvania State Police is notified by a PARX Casino staff member that a patron attempted to pass a counterfeit bill at either a gaming table, slot machine, or any one of the money cages inside of the casino.
And does the Pennsylvania State Police have any theories or an explanation as to why Parks Casino experiences more incidents of forgery and counterfeiting than other Pennsylvania casinos?
Yes, PARX is one of the largest, if not the largest revenue-producing casino in Pennsylvania. Therefore, its volume, we would expect a higher likelihood that it would have more incidents involving counterfeit currency.
Now, since 2014, when the highest number of reported incidents of forgery and counterfeiting occurred, has there been a decrease in forgery and counterfeiting incidents at Parks Casino?
Yes. In 2014, there were 246 reported incidents of forgery and counterfeiting at PARX Casino, and this figure continued to decline over the next 4 years. So now that by this past year of 2018, there were only 122 incidents.
Is this reduction in forgery and counterfeiting attributable to law enforcement efforts by the Pennsylvania State Police?
I think that new technology and security features on a lot of the newer bills have helped reduce the amount of counterfeit bills out in circulation. Additionally, I think the training of Parks employees to recognize counterfeit currency has also helped.
And you say how many thefts were reported at Parks in 2018?
Yes, 153,
And in 2017?
131,
2016?
146,
2015?
146,
And finally, in 2014?
190.
Did the number of thefts reported at Parks Casino from 2014 through 2018 remain somewhat consistent?
Yes, the number of thefts reported each year remained between a low of 131 in 2017 to a high of 190 in 2014 for an average number of yearly reported thefts of about 153.
Now, are there a significant number of violent crimes at Parks Casino?
No, there are not. There have been 3 robberies and 3 aggravated assaults from January 2014 through December of 2018.
Are there a significant number of crimes regarding individuals under the age of 21?
No, there's only been 1 reported within 5 years.
Has there been a noticeable increase in any specific crimes between January 2014 and the present?
No, for the most part. There was a spike in arrests, however, for possession of cocaine and or opiates from 1 in 2017 to 19 in 2018. It remains to be seen if this will continue.
After reviewing the Uniform Crime Reporting System for offenses report for Parks Casino, did you see a pattern in the type of actual offenses that have occurred at the licensed facility?
The pattern would seem that the most common crimes that occur at Parks Casino are theft and forgery and counterfeit incidents.
Are the Uniform Crime Reporting System records for reported offenses at Parks Casino for January 2019 available?
Yes, they are.
Generally, is the Pennsylvania State Police satisfied with the level of cooperation between the staff at Parks Casino and the troopers stationed within the facility?
Yes, the Pennsylvania State Police has a good working relationship with the staff at Parks Casino.
Are there any issues or concerns that you think would negatively impact the suitability of Parks Casino?
No.
Thank you. I have no further questions.
Do any Parks representative have questions? Okay. Thank you. Oh, sorry, turn to the board members.
I guess this is more a question for Enforcement Council, but then maybe for the trooper. Is anybody, I just don't know who's on your other witness list. Anybody from Bensalem Township Police going to be testifying?
No.
Okay, then in that case, I'll put the trooper on the spot.
Sure.
If you know, one of the concerns originally with the siting of land-based casinos in Pennsylvania was what I'll call spill-out crime into the community. Since you mentioned that you do work closely with Bensalem Police, do you feel comfortable commenting on whether or not there's been any significant, what I'll call spillover effect of a casino being located here in Bensalem or in Bucks County?
Ma'am, I would not have that information available to me here. I could only comment on what occurs inside of the casino or in the parking lot.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
The Office of Enforcement Council would like to call Dennis O'Brien. Please state your full name and spell your last name for the record.
Dennis O'Brien, O-B-R-I-E-N.
With whom are you employed?
I'm employed by the Pennsylvania Gaming Control Board with the Bureau of Casino Compliance.
What's your present title?
I am a senior supervisor
For how long have you been employed by the Pennsylvania Gaming Control Board?
since February of 2011,
And how long have you been a supervisor at Parks Casino?
since August of 2012.
And what are your duties and responsibilities, Mr. O'Brien?
We conduct the oversight of Parks Casino. I supervise the agent staff of 9 casino compliance representatives assigned to the property.
And can you describe the role of the Bureau of Casino Compliance at a licensed Pennsylvania casino?
We conduct the regulatory review and oversight of Parks Casino activities. All of our staff are familiar with the board's regulations and the Parks Casino internal controls. Our staff ensures that the Parks Casino staff complies with all of the board regulations and all of their own internal controls.
Can you describe the type of access the Bureau of Casino Compliance has within Parks Casino in the, for instance, the surveillance room?
We have full unfettered access.
How about the count room?
Again, we have full unfettered access, and we're present during all of the table game counts.
Now, you also have access to the central control computer room?
Yes, sir, we do. And again, we have full access, and we monitor the computer room activities.
Does that include interaction with the Department of Revenue?
Yes, it does. We act as a liaison with the Department of Revenue. We assist them with the facilitation of any of their activities involving Parks Casino.
And has there been any issues with the connectivity regarding the central control computer at Parks Casino?
No, none that I'm aware of.
Does the Bureau of Casino Compliance interact with Parks Casino patrons?
Yes, sir, we do.
Do you respond to complaints from patrons?
Yes, we do.
And does the Bureau of Casino Compliance conduct self-exclusion intakes?
Yes, we do. And we also conduct any voluntary credit suspension program activities.
Can you describe the relationship between the Bureau of Casino Compliance and the Pennsylvania State Police?
Yes, we have an excellent professional relationship.
And can you describe the relationship between the Bureau of Casino Compliance and Parks Casino staff?
Again, I believe we have an excellent professional relationship.
Has Parks Casino's staff been cooperative in compliance reviews conducted by the Bureau of Casino Compliance?
Yes, they have.
Are the regulatory issues at Parks Casino comparable to the regulatory issues found at other Pennsylvania casinos?
Yes, they are similar, and there's been no remarkable issues at Parks Casino.
Do you know of any issues or concerns that would negatively impact Parks Casino's suitability for continued licensure?
No, I do not.
I have no further questions.
Parks, any questions? Board members?
I'm full of questions today. Well, I just, along with some of the other commissioners, listened to questions from legislators during our appropriations hearing, and it seems an appropriate question to ask here when council asked you about describe your relationship with the state police and then with the Parks Casino, and you said it was good. I'd like to hear you describe what it actually is. The question was asked, well, you have compliance people, and then there's the casino security, and then there's the state police, and then there's the township police. So I think a little explanation of how you all work together to do what you do with regard to safety and compliance in the casino, if I could put you on the spot, would be very helpful.
No problem. As an example, on a day-to-day basis, we interact with the security departments and the surveillance departments. We're notified of any activities that are occurring on the casino floor from a security perspective. Ejections, arrests. So we are involved with surveillance in the reviews of all of the activities so that it can be presented to the state police, if appropriate, to remove the patrons from the casino floors. If there's any areas of uncompliance that occurs incidentally through Parks Casino with advertising or promotions, we're notified by the legal department that in a self-reporting nature that an event has occurred. They report to us. Whenever we have any questions, if we're conducting any investigation based, again, upon things that have been uncovered by a security or surveillance event, we connect with the appropriate department, whether it be player services, the cage, internal audit, income control, legal, and we've received full cooperation, which has allowed us to complete reports, which we then refer to our supervisors or to OEC for any enforcement action or closure. But our communication, I think, on a daily basis with each individual department and the management of parks, I think it's been excellent since the time that I've been at the property.
Thank Any further questions from anyone? Okay, thank you.
The Office of Enforcement Counsel would like to call William Dobbins.
Morning, Commissioners.
Mr. Dobbins, for the record, please state your full name and spell your last name.
William Dobbins, D-O-B-B-I-N-S.
With whom are you employed?
I'm an investigator with the Pennsylvania Game Control Board, Bureau of Investigations and Enforcement.
And what is your present title?
Investigator and case agent for PARX Casino.
And how long have you been working for the Pennsylvania Gaming Control Board?
I've been with the board since the inception of the Bureau of Investigations in 2006.
And how long have you been the case agent for the PARX Casino?
Since August of 2015.
And can you briefly describe for us what your responsibilities as an investigator in the Bureau of Investigations and Enforcement is?
The Bureau of Investigation and Enforcement is tasked with conducting suitability investigations and financial reviews for any individual or entity that wants to do business with the casinos in Pennsylvania or own a casino in Pennsylvania. A report's generated and sent up the chain, and ultimately it goes before the commissioners for a decision.
Now, in your professional capacity, have you been deeply involved in the investigation of PARX Casino's renewal application?
I have.
When did the Bureau of Investigations and Enforcement begin its renewal investigation?
January of 2018.
And can you describe the scope of the investigation?
Yeah, once the PARX submits applications for renewal, they submit a renewal application. It goes to our licensing bureau. They vet it, and then they send it over to the Bureau of Investigations for action.
Did you review renewal of the applications filed by PARX Casino?
I did. I reviewed all the renewal applications, and after a review, I send out letters to the executives of PARX Casino, primarily Tom Bonner, IRS releases, FOIAs for the FBI to release information to us, and a request for information letter, which I request 3 years of financial records on the companies and the individuals, any liens, judgments, anything of all personal records. It's an extensive process.
Now, has the PARX Casino personnel been cooperative during the investigation?
Yes, they have.
Is the investigation complete?
It is. I just finished up one of the owners in the UK, and that report has recently been submitted.
Did the Bureau of Investigations and Enforcement discover any areas of concern during the investigation?
No.
Did the Bureau of Investigations and Enforcement discover anything during the course of the investigation that would preclude a finding the suitability of PARX Casino?
No.
Thank you. I have no further questions.
Any questions from PARX?
No questions. Thank you, Mr. Dobbins.
Questions from our board members?
Thank you.
Thank you. No, great. Okay, then we will move into the record, the comments, or I'm sorry, the exhibits 1 through 9 from our Office of Enforcement Counsel, with exhibits 7 through 9 being confidential. Is that correct?
7 and 8.
7 and 8. Does PARX have any objection to that?
No objection.
Okay. We will move on to our public comment portion of the hearing. As I call your name, if you please come forward to the podium over here. And if you could begin your remarks by stating and spelling your name for the court reporter. And if you are here on behalf of an entity, if you could tell us who that is as well. If you have not been sworn previously to testify, if you can stand and raise your right hand if you are going to speak in the public comment portion. Please stand up and raise your right hand to be sworn. I think some of you have been sworn over here earlier, but some of you have not. So if you are going to make public comment, if you could please stand and raise your right hand. I think Mr. Kuppersmith, are you registered to speak? Yes. If you're going to speak, yes. Thank you.
Do you swear or affirm that the testimony you're about to give will be the the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
My testimony involved my opinion.
Yes, this is just,
I don't know whether that you consider that the truth or not.
well, if you believe it to be, then we'll have you sworn.
You know, yeah, I'm going to tell the truth.
Okay,
But
so,
I have opinions on this stuff.
okay, so we'll hear those in a bit. Thank you. We'll start with Senator Tomlinson.
Mic check, check, check. Good.
And I would remind all speakers they have approximately 5 minutes for their comments.
Thank you. My name is Robert Tomlinson, otherwise known as Tommy, Tomlinson, Senator of the 6th Senatorial District, which is part of Bucks County, and it includes Bensalem and PARX Casino. And having struggled for over 10 years of my legislative career to bring about the gaming bill, I'm proud and honored to stand here to ask you to renew the license for PARX Casino. They've been a great community partner. As you've seen in the testimony, they have invested a tremendous amount of money in the community. Besides the $140 million that they invest, that they are required to invest by law, they've invested over $90 million in community charities. And they've outlined those charities to you, the different ones that they've given. So they've stepped way beyond my imagination of what they could have done for this community. And when you talk about business economic development, as you drove in off of the turnpike, you noticed there wasn't one fast food chain store you haven't seen. They go from Outback to Carrabba's to Friendlies to TJF Fridays to Applebee's. The economic development along that Street Road corridor has been tremendous. So I just want to say that they've been a great community member. I started down this road a long time ago when Bob Green bought this track. It was not a successful operation when he bought it. It was losing a lot of money, and through the years of operating it, he turned it into a profitable organization. Once Delaware Park put slot machines in their racetracks, it took all the good horses down to Delaware, and that's when we worked very hard to get the slot machines at the racetrack. And thanks to Governor Rendell and his great cooperation and the cooperation of a lot of people in the legislature, we were able to get the slot machines. And of course, we didn't do just class 1s, we did class 2s and 3s, and now we have ancillaries. The important thing that I think was for you to see today is how much money they put into the backstretch and into the building. Other casinos don't necessarily have to do that, but you see that they've invested tremendously. They took the original building and spent about $185 million to turn it into a casino as soon as possible because the state wanted its revenue. They then spent $415 million to build the casino that you see today. They went back and spent $30 million on the backstretch for the horsemen in the back area and improved that. And then he spent another $25 million fixing the grandstand area back up, for which they turned into a casino, back into something that would make horse racing a very, very good venue. And then, of course, you've seen that they've just spent another $147 million on restaurants and on the Excite Center and on the new beer garden. So they've invested constantly over and over again to make their product a better product. They've taken a losing operation in an old racetrack that was losing money into a casino that's one of the best performing casinos in the state of Pennsylvania, and I'd say even on the East Coast. So they've been a great corporate citizen. They've run a great organization. They run a great thing for Bensalem. So I asked you to seriously consider renewing their license. Thank you. Any questions for me? Kath, come on, you have to have one question.
How you feeling today, Tommy?
I'm feeling great, but I share the concerns about iGaming. I'm very, very concerned. I mean, Pennsylvania is totally different than New Jersey. New Jersey did it, I think, in a defensive mechanism. I was surprised when we first did the gaming bill how many New Jersey customers we captured. And by Atlantic City putting internet gaming in, they were able to capture a lot of their Western New Jersey customers that came over to Pennsylvania, because we are very convenient to a lot of sections of New Jersey. So I think it's a totally different game for iGaming for Pennsylvania. We spread our casinos out into different areas. Atlantic City New Jersey has all their casinos in one small town. So I'm very, very concerned. Of course, I didn't vote for the bill. I didn't vote for internet gaming because I'm worried about what it's going to do to our bricks and mortar. But the This business has shown that they've got the ability to adjust and to invest and make a successful casino. Thank you.
Thank you. Representative Eugene DiGirolamo.
Hello, everyone. Gene DiGirolamo, Genedgirolamo. Hello, everyone. Good to be with you. And it's good to see two of my former colleagues in the House here today. And it kind of warms my heart because it makes me realize that there is life after the legislature. Anyway, I've got written testimony because I think this is really important because PARX Casino has done so much good things for our community. And I am proud to stand here and support them today. I am the elected state representative here in the 18th Legislative District. Actually, Bensalem, where PARX reside, is my whole legislative district, one municipality. I want to take a moment to acknowledge the three people who are sitting up here at the table, and I call all three of them my friends. That's Bob Green, Tony Ricci, and Ron Davis. I interact with them, really almost on a daily basis. I'm talking to one of them, especially Mr. Ron Davis here, who does so much for our community. He really does. I want to specifically talk today about PARX and how much they've meant to the local area with their employment and how seriously they address the problem gaming addiction in the community here. First, as you all are well aware, the number of construction jobs created by the buildings of the original casino and the creation of the temporary casino at the racetrack was over 1,200 construction jobs. That's 1,200 jobs from our building trades. And I really like to point out that all of those jobs, or most all of them, are Pennsylvania residents who are working here. Currently, as has been presented already, PARX has over 2,157 employees. These employees are engaged in many different capacities of the casino. And aside from jobs related to gaming, PARX also employs everything from carpenters to steam fitters to electricians. I would also like to point out that these are all good family-sustaining jobs that we are glad to have here in Bensalem, and all with really, really good benefits. As of the last report, over 84% of these jobs are held by Pennsylvania residents. That's so important. And further, almost half of the jobs at PARX are held by minorities. PARX has been committed to diversity, and the percentage number of jobs held by minorities has gone from 39% in 14-15 to 46% in 17-18. Now I'd like to turn to PARX and the problem gaming issue. As you are, maybe some of you are aware, I am chairman of the House Human Services Committee, and I've been chairman there for the past 8 years, so the issue of addiction is very important to me. Every day I am working to combat the opiate epidemic and other addictions that affect our community. One of these potential addictions is, of course, gambling. I'm proud to say that PARX has always taken problem gaming seriously, and I'm going to say that again. Always, from the very beginning, they have taken the issue of problem gaming seriously. Not only do they follow the regulations and oversight related to problem gambling, but they go a step further and help the local community with both their checkbook and their employees. Ron Davis, who's a presenter here today, is actually a board member of Greenwood, which is a drug and alcohol treatment facility here in Bensalem, and you're going to hear later on from Holly, who's an employee there at Greenwood. Finally, I would like to bring the board's attention that statewide in 17-18, Pennsylvania's casinos made $14 million in charitable donations. And I think that's quite an accomplishment around the state, $14 million around the state. Of that amount, PARX Casino gave almost $10 million of that $14 million. That number does a great job representing how PARX views our community here in Bensalem and in Bucks County. PARX is responsible for 70% of the entire charitable giving total of the Pennsylvania casinos. To conclude, PARX has been a tremendous neighbor, a partner in community. They have done a great job running a top tier of the casino that is socially responsible and a great neighborhood partner. I ask you to grant their license renewal so they can continue to operate and benefit the people here in Bensalem and in Bucks County. And I say this all the time. I sat next to Governor Rendell back in 2006 when he signed a casino bill right here in Bensalem. And I say that PARX has not only been a home run for our community, but PARX Casino has been a grand slam for our community. So thank you very much, and thank you for allowing me to testify today.
Thank you. Bensalem Mayor Joseph DiGirolamo.
Good morning, Joe DiGirolamo, D-I, capital G-I-R-O-L-A-M-O. Good morning. Welcome to our great community. Good to have you here in Bensalem. Certainly, I just want to clarify, Gene, I am not his father, so I want to clarify that. I am his uncle, so I want to clarify that right away, and we talk about family all the time. And I'll start out by the casino folks over there are our family here in Bensalem. I have been here my whole life, so I go back before the racetrack, so show my age a little bit, but Bob Green and I go back to that. And the racetrack here and the casino has done an incredible job for us here in Bensalem Township. We work daily with them. There's always something. And you had asked about our police before. Our police work very, very hard with them, with the state police and with the security over the casino. And we have a great record with that. And I wish our chief was here and he could bring us up to date. He is here in case you want to hear him. But he could give you the facts. But we keep up to date with them every day. They have given so much to this community. By the way, I have a script. I'm all script, okay? I don't speak scripts. So we have, every day we work with them with the diversity in this community, the incredible, we are a diverse community. We mirror Philadelphia. We're no different. And certainly, Ron has done a great job with that. Ron Davis, who I call brother, and I mean that sincerely. I've known him before he came here to the casino. Everybody working over there works with us. We have a great relationship. What that casino has meant to us, you know, we get $10 million a year from the casino. That $10 million a year has helped us in so many. You talk about our police department. It has helped us to hire more police to make sure that our community is safe, so that all around, not just on the highway in front of it, but our communities are safe. And I think we have a gaming board here, our own game board that we put on immediately that work with them, and the casino once a month meets with them to bring them up to date, which they report back to me what they get. They have done everything that I could ever expected. You know, you'll hear a lot of rumors out there. You'll hear people about crime, prostitution. That's not here. It doesn't happen, I'm telling you. It's just not here. This casino has not caused any problem. They have built highways for us, roadways into their casino. They have paid for that. The money that they gave to different charities is incredible. I will bring one to you, one charity that is an incredible little charity that you might think about. We have an AME church here that's 200 years old that was falling down. They helped us to bring that AME church back, the history of that. That, as we sit here today, that church is an incredible little church. Goes back to the Underground Railroad, everything. So thank you for that. That's something that you won't hear about. That's not, you won't see it in their PowerPoints, you won't hear it, but it goes on and on and on of what they have done. Our EMS, they help our EMS. They've contributed more money to our EMS to make that work better for our community and to serve them. I tell you, as the mayor of this town, I've been here 26 years as mayor, so this is not something new. I've been there when Ed Rendell, as Gene said, signed over there. We were all there. I was with Ed Rendell there, worked with Ed Rendell before to bring it to communities, to let them know. And by the way, how outstanding of a job they did for the racing community to keep that here. And I know they have the best track in all of Pennsylvania, and this area or southeastern United States. They've kept that going. You know how many jobs they created? How many? Over 2,000 jobs. They're one of our largest people that have companies here. I can't tell you enough for them. I hope that you take everything in consideration of what you've heard of testimony today about this great, we call them our business-friendly community here, our partners here in Bensalem. It's truly been an incredible trip for us, and Gene calls it a grand slam, and certainly it's been every bit of that. It's been my hole-in-one, and I don't golf, so hopefully you'll take all this testimony and approve this license, this great corporation. And again, I thank these gentlemen for being here today, and thank you for coming to Bensalem. God bless you all.
Thank you. Minesh Pathak. And if I just mangled your name, I'm sorry.
No, you're pretty close. So my name is Minesh Pathak. Last name is spelled P-A-T-H-A-K. I'm the Executive Director of the Lower Bucks County Chamber of Commerce. Good morning, everyone. I just want to say that this gentleman here on the left, Mr. Ron Davis, has been a big supporter of the Chamber of Commerce. Not only is he a board member, but I'm proud to call him my friend now as well. I stepped in as executive director about 8 months ago, and out of the 22 board members we have, Ron Davis personally called me to say, "You got this. You can handle the chamber." And that's why I'm proud to say he is a close friend of ours. The Chamber of Commerce, from what we've heard from our members, PARX Casino is a great community leader. They employ over 2,000 employees, as you saw in their PowerPoint. The outreach that they have is phenomenal. The workforce development that they employ is fantastic. And what they do in the community, belonging to many, many organizations, many nonprofits, is tremendous. I can tell you myself, PARX Casino has been an active member ever since they opened. So they've been a big supporter of the chamber. They belong to many organizations. They help a lot of nonprofits. And they also host 2 of our major events every year. So they are a big advocate of the chamber, so please renew their license. Thank you.
Thank you. Holly Livingston.
Good morning. My first name is Holly, H-O-L-L-Y. Last name Livingston, L-I-V-I-N-G-S-T-O-N. And I'm here representing Live and Grand Foundation. We are a drug and alcohol treatment facility here in Bensalem. We are in support of the renewal of the PARX Casino license. We've been a great partnership for a number of years now, and Ron Davis is one of our board members, but is also a big champion for what we do in order to provide a sustainable recovery process for community members as well as in the surrounding region. PARX allows us to extend that in order to provide a gambling component to that. Particularly with our first responders program, we tend to identify gambling as one of their co-occurring issues. And with the support of PARX, and particularly with Mr. Davis, we are able to provide more of a comprehensive type of treatment modality that otherwise would maybe slip through the cracks. So we're able to identify as well as provide that sustainable support for adult men and women. So thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Jim McKee.
Any special order? Hello, my
My name is Peter Waits, W-A-I-T-Z-E.
I'm sorry, Jim McKee.
I'm sorry?
I called Jim McKee.
Oh, I'm sorry.
That's okay.
You can read this. Hi, I'm James McKee. I go by Jim with 2 M's. And I'm here today representing the Bucks County chapter of the NAACP. I'm their first vice president. I'm also in charge of community affairs, which kind of lends me what I'm about to say about Ron and PARX Casino. I mean, not only am I a Ben Salem resident and have benefited from all the things that they have done for the community, but I've also benefited as a lifetime member of the NAACP for the help that they have provided us. I have the script that I could go by, but I'd rather just talk to you because it's a personal thing to me, because I take human rights personally. And as being a community advocate in Bucks County for more than 30 years, because I also chair the Bucks County Coalition for African American Concerns, my children, my grandchild were all raised here in Bucks County. And so therefore, seeing an organization like PARX Casino come and add such a positive influence to everything that goes on here, the things just that they do for the NAACP, they practically support our scholarship fund. They personally saw to it that 5 Bucks County children got $1,000 so that they could extend their education. We have our Freedom Fund banquet every October at their facility. We have monthly meetings at their facility. So not only do they walk the walk and talk the talk, but they actually are part of our community. There's one thing to be a part and do all these things, but Ron and Miss Waters, I mean, they are actually really parts of our organization. And like everyone else has said, they are our family. They are NAACP's family. They are corporate members of the NAACP. So therefore, we don't know what we did before they came, and I've been doing this stuff for a long time, and it really does my heart good to see a group like this come to our community and add such a positive influence. Thank you.
Thank you. Harold Kupperschmidt? Cooper Kupperschmidt? You'll have to tell me how to pronounce your name.
Not move podium. My name is Harold Cooper-Smith, but I like to go by the green shirt. That happened. Oh, and first of all, thank you for letting me appear. As a classic Mr. Nobody, it's moments like this that elevate what I'm trying to do. And capitalism and democracy are under attack. And whether you believe it or not, look around the world. You see it in Yemen, you see it in Syria, you see it in Libya, you see it in Venezuela. And what's not happening is we have to work together. And wherever I go, I get the same reaction. Who the hell are you, Mr. Nobody, telling us what to do? You have no record, which is true. Today happens to be my half-year birthday. I'm 80 and a half today. Now, the United States of America is an indispensable party in the world. And unless we work together and cooperate, it's going to be very detrimental to 130 million Americans who right now can't pay their bills because of the fact that an outfit like PARX hasn't given their employees a raise. This was as of November, beginning of November of last year, in 10 years. That's a problem, inequality that has to be addressed, because there's 7 million Americans who can't make their auto loan payments. Now let's talk about parks. Whether you want to believe it or not, the thoroughbred, and I'm only talking about the thoroughbred, I know nothing about slot machines. I wouldn't play them. I think anybody who plays them is an idiot. I gamble on the horses because I control the bets that I make. Nobody tells me. When you pull a slot machine, you have no control, and as you can see, it's a very profitable endeavor. Now, PARX races, and as a background, I made my first bet in 1957. And so if you count all that, 62 years. I testified at my U.S. tax court trial that I think, because I have no idea, that I've lost around $140,000 in that time frame betting on the horses. It's almost impossible to make money. So in 1996, I was audited by the Internal Revenue. If my math is right, that's 23 years ago. Now, the thoroughbred racing, and I had no idea then that the thoroughbred racing, for a variety of reasons, and the slot machines and the contribution to racing has helped us save it. Now, talking about PARX, you give them the right to operate a racetrack, and they operate Saturday, Monday, and Tuesday. I consider a PARX to be a grade 2 racetrack. Tracks like Saratoga and Santa Anita are grade 1s. Tracks like Penn National are grade 3s. They give out roughly $3 million on one day, which is the third Saturday of September. And they've already mentioned it and alluded to it with the Pennsylvania Derby. Now, the thoroughbred racing industry being in trouble means that you have to marshal and stop taxing non-existent income, which the IRS has done. Now, on Kentucky Derby Day in 2012, I got a ticket at PARX by the Bensalem Township Police Department for parking against the barrier. If you know how the track is and the disability section, I got a ticket. That led to a cascade of events, and I got the self-exclusion letter in February of 13. I ignored it because, as I say, I've been betting on the horses since 1957. I was arrested on the 6th of April of 2013, and I wrote to this board, and that's another problem in America, regulatory capture. I wrote to this board at least and called at least a half a dozen times. I cannot find any rules on involuntary self-exclusion. You can't give these people the right to arrest people for just sitting there and trying to make America better. That's in essence what they did. Now, it's a done deal. I know that they're too profitable. They give $11 million to Bensalem Township, and there's no way you're not going to renew the license. But you have to start protecting the public against abuse, all kinds of abuse, also known as regulatory capture. Now, on 9/11 of all days of 2013, I was arrested and charged with making terroristic threats in a phone call to Judge Falcone, whose office is right over here. Trust me, I'd never made the call. And I hire a lawyer, the lawyer quits on me, I make a plea deal with the district attorney, which he doesn't honor. So that's not the end of the story. On 11th of August of 2014, I got arrested again while I'm on probation by the then representative in my district, Mr. Steven Santa
Mr.
Sarah, and
Cuppersmith?
I don't even know what I'm charged
Mr.
with.
Cuppersmith?
Excuse me?
You're at 7 minutes
Okay,
now,
thank
so
you.
I'm going to have to ask you to wrap up if you want to close your comments, but
Yeah, and I can close it with a couple sentences. I'm going back to PARX because that's at the closest racetrack to me on Saturday. So if you want to, you can arrest me again and I'll fight you as best I can. But you can't give them the right to just arrest people.
thank you.
Thank you.
That is the end of my registered speakers list, but I think there was a gentleman who wanted to speak back there, if you want to come on up. If you can, did you want to make comment?
Yes, yeah.
Okay. If you could state and spell your name for our court reporter?
My name is Peter Waits, W-A-I-T-Z-E. The question, should they get a license renewed? The answer is obviously yes. The real question is, can you imagine what any community would look like if every business in that community was as good as this organization is? You have no idea how charitable they are. My biggest complaint about them, and I've mentioned this to Ron Davis many times, is you never put it in the paper. Nobody really knows what you're doing. I know because I'm on the board. But the community doesn't know, and they say, gee, well, my check wasn't big enough. They make charitable contributions. These guys are great. Give them the license now. Let us all go home. They deserve their license. Thank you for the time.
Thank you. Is there anyone else in the audience that thought they registered to speak and I've not called their name?
How you doing? I'm Mark Cohen.
Do you spell your last name?
Cohen, C-O-H-E-N. First, I was on the mayor's gambling advisory board several years ago. In 2015, I had to step down because I was elected to the Bensalem School Board, which of course provides great income to our, tax revenue to our school district, and we really appreciate that. I am the president of the Bensalem Rotary Club. Ron Davis is also a member of our club. Without PARX Casino's support, our club would be in dire straits. We're doing really well because of their help. I am also the treasurer of the Mud in My Cleats, which is a nonprofit set up by Ron Davis and through the PARX Casino. It's a board with former NFL players and citizens, and we raise money for area scholarships in the community. Just a couple days ago, we met and we formalized our scholarship program. Because of Ron Davis and PARX Casino houses our meetings, we were able to give out, looks like $2,500 in scholarships to a kid in Chamonix High School, and also in the Bensalem area, we're going to have scholarships for some of our athletes. So we appreciate that from PARX. That's all, financed through PARX. I'm also the treasurer of the Bensalem Education Foundation. We set this foundation up about 4 years ago. About 5 years ago. 5 years ago, we started with $300, and we have grown extremely an awful lot. The biggest contributor to us at the time and got us started was PARX Casino through Ron Davis. He gave us the initial $5,000 contribution. From that $300, we now take in close to $50,000 a year just on the we're not even employees, you know what I mean? We don't even get paid. So now we have almost $100,000 in our account. And it really did start because of PARX Casino. They really were the impetus to get that started. Let's see. We also are applying for the EITC program. Hopefully PARX can contribute to that. Every year PARX constantly gives a donation to the Education Foundation. They have increased it each year. So, let's see. And whenever a nonprofit needs help, we can go to PARX, and they are always there for the community. A lot of people know that I'm involved with PARX, so they'll call me, and we get them the necessary channel, and they do. They take care of anything that we need in the community. I just want to add with this about addiction. Last Thursday, I celebrated 20 years of sobriety. Thank you. And I sort of know a little bit about gambling. My father was born and raised in a town called Perth Amboy, New Jersey. It was a gambling town in the 1920s and the 1930s. My dad started gambling at that time and moved to Philadelphia when he met my mother and became a Philadelphia school teacher. And my dad, I love telling the stories about my dad. He is a pretty big gambler, and many years of his life he has lived in casinos. He's lived in Nevada, he's lived in California, he's lived in Atlantic City. At 95 years old, my father can gamble 12 to 24 hours a day with breaks, still at this age. He is amazing. So I know a little bit about addiction. I know that PARX does the best they can control it. Oh, unfortunately, I will never be able to get my dad to move here. I've asked him many times, and one time we were walking in the desert, and I said, Dad, come on, let's move back. He goes, and leave this beautiful desert, and he won't do it. So I thank you, and I appreciate you renewing this great license because of all they've done for our community over these years. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there anyone else that believe they registered and I have not called your name? Okay. Moving on, we received 2 written comments, one in support from a citizen, and we also have written testimony from Senator Tomlinson, which I'm pretty sure does not follow what he presented here today. So we had written comments from him as well. So those will be included in today's record. Does PARX have any closing comment they'd like to make?
No, we don't. Thank you for this opportunity. We really appreciate it.
How about our Office of Enforcement Counsel?
No, the Office of Enforcement Counsel has no closing. Thank you.
Okay. The record will remain open until the board hears the matter at a public board meeting at a later date. A report will be based on the testimony and evidence entered in the record today, and the suitability report that will be filed by our Bureau of Licensing. That report and all of the evidence from today's hearing will be forwarded to the full board for their consideration, and it will be heard at a later board meeting in Harrisburg. I want to thank you all for coming today and for your cooperation, and the hearing is now concluded. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.